Hi everyone, my name is Angela and I'm the founder of Chatty2 Art Kits and Classes for Kids, and I've been asked by Cork City Libraries to make a couple of videos showing you how to make really cool things for Christmas. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, we're going to need a scissors, okay? So these are some things you should have lying around your own houses. We're going to need a scissors. We're also going to need some glue. Now a glue stick is better for this rather than PVA glue because it's less messy, okay? So a glue stick, Pritt stick or one of these would be grand. We're also going to need a couple of sheets of printer paper that you should have lying around your house. Maybe 2 or 3 sheets of this kind of paper, the printer paper that you should have. So that will be good. And if you have a coloured sheet of paper or card, that's cool too, but if you don't, you can use one of the white ones. And we're going to need leftover wrapping paper. Now, I'm sure you all have little pieces of leftover wrapping paper from your Christmas presents. I've got a couple of these ones here that we're going to use for today's picture, okay? And we're also going to need some markers, crayons or colouring pencils. Whichever you have at home will be fine. We're going to need one of those, okay? I'm going to show you what we're making today. It's really cool. They're called waste paper penguins. So we're going to make this really cool collage of paper penguins using our leftover wrapping paper you can see here. And that way we don't waste any paper. We make something really cool and bright and colourful and a really nice decoration to hang around the house for Christmas, or it would make a lovely gift. Perhaps you could use the idea to make on the front of a Christmas card for somebody special as well. Okay, so just to go through what we need one more time before we get started. We're going to need a scissors. You're going to need a glue stick. You're going to need some plain white printer paper, maybe 2 or 3 sheets. We're going to need a piece of colour card if you have it. If you don't, we'll use one of the white sheets, all right? And we're going to need however many pieces of leftover wrapping paper you have in whatever colours you have. And of course, we're going to need your markers, your crayons or your pencils, whichever you have at home. Now you can use paints, but it takes a while for paint to dry. So if you'd wanted to start and paint the background first and wait for it to dry before you stick things on, you can do that too. It's your design, you can do what you like, all right? So we're going to get started. First of all, we are going to cut out some shapes, all right? So what I'm going to do is, I know that I'm going to use a couple of these waste paper pieces to make the big penguins here, okay? Now, I don't have any plain black left. I use this for this one. So I've got some red ones. I've got some other ones that just happen to have penguins on it. And I've got some green. So I'm going to take my red one. I'm going to start with that. And I'm just going to open it up. And I'm going to draw on the back of it an oval shape, all right? So you can do this with a pencil or a marker. And I always find that if you want to draw something on a piece of paper and not waste a lot of paper, if you do it as close to the edge as you can, then when you cut it out, you still have lots of paper to work with, and it's not just, you know, scraps of paper that you've put together. Now, I didn't do a perfect oval there, so I made a mistake, so I'm just going to go over that again. And that is my oval shape. Now you can see, look, everyone makes mistakes, so you can always fix it because it's at the back. Now what I'm going to do is a little trick here. I'm going to cut this out roughly first, so you don't have all of this paper to mess around with and be fiddling with while you're trying to cut this out, okay? So I just cut it out kind of roughly first, all right? And I'm going to make 2 of the same of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold over my paper like this. Okay, like that. So when I cut this one out, I'll actually be cutting 2 out at the same time, all right? So here we go, all right? So I'm just going to fold it over like that. I've drawn it on one side and I'm just going to cut now. And I have 2 lovely oval bodies for my waste paper penguins. And these will be the first 2. So I'm going to do maybe 3 grown-ups and 3 children. So 3 mammies and 3 kids, or 3 daddies and 3 kids. So that's what I've done. So when I cut that out, I'm left with 2 oval shapes and I'm ready to go. So these are my first 2 penguins ready to go. Okay. And I have some paper left over if I want to do some other things with it later. But I still have all of this left because I drew near the edge of the paper, and I can do other things with this, or maybe wrap a small present with that later, okay? So I'm going to do the same now. I'm going to make a big penguin out of my penguin paper. And I'm just going to pop this over here, and I'm going to do the same thing again with my marker. And I'm just going to draw an oval shape on my page. Okay, it looks like kind of an egg shape. All right. Now, if you need help with any of this, guys, there's no problem. You just ask your mums and dads or your grannies, granddads, whoever's there with you, to give you a hand with the cutting and with the drawing, maybe if you're struggling a little bit. But I'm pretty sure you'll all be well able for this, okay? So I'm only going to do one of the little penguins in the big penguins in this paper, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cut that out, and I have 3 penguin bodies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recap just from the start to tell you what I've done, okay? So using the waste paper that you've left over from wrapping all the Christmas presents that you have for your mums and dads and brothers and sisters and grannies and granddads and aunts and uncles and whoever else you're buying lovely presents for. There's always some wrapping paper left over, and we don't like to waste anything because paper, we don't want waste paper to have to be recycled and be bad for the environment. We like to use everything, and why not use it to decorate your house, okay? So what we've done is we've taken some of the leftover wrapping paper, we've opened it up at the back, it's plain white mostly. We've drawn an egg shape or an oval shape, a nice big one. It's probably around the same size as your hand, okay? My hand's a little bit bigger, but it's probably the same size as your hand, okay? For the bodies of the adult penguins. And we've just drawn an egg shape or an oval shape. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect, because you can always make it perfect when you're cutting it out. And if you want to cut 2 out, we've just folded the paper over and cut around the first one, and it cuts 2 out instead of 1. So that's a trick. And then I did the same with the other paper that I wanted. Now you can, if you like, do 3 different papers for the big ones. It's your design. You can do maybe just 1, you can do 2, you can do 3. You can also use plain white paper if you don't have any wrapping paper left over, or brown paper if you don't have any wrapping paper. You can always colour it in, you can paint it, you can do whatever you like. This is just my idea and my design, and I'd love to see what you guys add to it. Okay, so I have my 3 adult sizes now, and now I'm going to start making the smaller ones for the 3 kids, okay? And I think I really do like this penguin paper that I have left over. And actually, the piece that I've cut off, I have room for 2 small ones in this. So it's a nice small piece of paper, and I'm just going to do 2 much smaller penguins shapes on this. So I'll just draw 1 again, and I'll fold over the paper again. So there's my small one. It's about the same size as maybe one of your fingers, okay? If you're doing a measurement. I'm going to fold over the paper again like we did earlier to do that trick. For when I cut 1 out, I'm actually going to cut 2 out. And I'm just going to cut those guys out there now. And then I have 2 of the 3 babies done, okay? And I think I'll do my last one out of my green paper just because I've got 3 different kinds of wrapping paper, okay? So there we go. So there are my 2 penguins, my 2 baby penguins. And now I'm going to use my green wrapping paper, my lovely sparkly green wrapping paper that I have, which isn't great for the environment or recycling. So I want to use it in art instead. And I'm just going to draw a small guy down here again, okay? And I'm going to cut that out. I'll do it roughly first so I'm not using, taking up all the space with the paper, the big piece of paper, and struggling to with it. So if I cut it out roughly first, it's easier to cut out. And I'm going to pop this over to the side, ready to use for other art or maybe some small gifts. All right, so I'm going to cut this guy out now, and I have my 3 adult penguins done and my 3 babies done. Now guys, if I'm racing here and I'm going too fast for you, that's okay. You can always pause this video and go back and look at it. Don't worry, take your time. I have to have this done in a certain amount of time, but you guys have plenty of time to finish yours and make them even cooler than mine, because I'm pretty sure yours are going to be neater, okay? So I've got my 3 adults done. 1, 2, 3. And I have my 3 baby penguins done. 1, 2, 3, okay? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to my white sheet of paper, okay? And I'm going to make the faces for all of my penguins. And if you can see carefully, the faces are actually love hearts, okay? So here comes the section where we're going to draw lots and lots of love hearts. Now you guys can do smaller circles if you like, but I think the love hearts are sweet because if you're going to give it to somebody as a gift or maybe a card, it will look really special. And it's from somebody who loves them. So it's nice with the little love hearts, okay? But if you want to do circles, you could do that too. We're going to do love hearts today though, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do one love heart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my sheet of paper in 3 like this, okay? I'm going to show you now. So I've taken one side of my paper here, folded it in like this, and I'm going to take my other sheet of paper here like this and folded them on top, okay? Now your mums and dads are well used to folding like this because this is how you fold a letter, all right? So if you're stuck, you're just going to take one side here and fold it over like that. So basically you're dividing your page into 3, okay? And again, this is a trick because we're going to do one heart and cut 3 out at the same time, okay? Now I'm going to draw a heart on this, and I'm going to do it as close to the bottom as I can, just to leave me enough space for the smaller hearts that I have to do as well, okay? So I'm going to do this. So that's my lovely love heart, okay? So I just went up and over and down like that. And everyone has their own way of drawing love hearts, okay, guys? So don't worry if yours' way is different. I'm sure it is going to be perfect, all right? Right, so I'm going to take my page, I'm going to hold it carefully, and I'm going to cut out the love hearts, the 3 love hearts at exactly the same time, all right? And this is a nice quick art project if you wanted to make these on cards, or if you were only doing one penguin, it would only take a few minutes. If you had some time on a rainy day, you could do that, all right? So I'm going to just cut those out, and I have 3 lovely hearts for the faces. Now mine are a little bit uneven, but I don't mind. But if you wanted to make them more even, you can do that now. Now is the time to do that, okay? So if you can see now, because I folded my page in 3, I have 3 adult faces for my penguins, all right? So I'm going to put those to the side, and I still have the paper at the end here left over, okay? I can pull that bit off because I don't need it. And I'm going to do 3 smaller love hearts for the baby's faces, okay? All right, so I'm going to do 3 smaller ones down here at the bottom, like that. So up and over and around, up, over and around on this side, okay? And I'm going to do exactly the same thing again. I'm going to cut out 1 and 3 will come out because we folded the page in 3. Okay, now I'm going to recap all of this in 1 second, just in case you guys are a little bit behind, all right? So I'm just going to cut this out, cut out around this, and you guys take your time. I'm flying with the scissors. If I'm not careful, I might injure myself, so I don't do what I'm doing with the scissors. Okay, right, now I've got my 3 baby faces, my 3 lovely baby penguin faces. Okay, and I think these are really sweet, but as I said, you don't have to do love hearts if you don't want to. So I've got my 3 baby love heart faces over here. So what I've done with my page, I'm just going to show you again to make sure you can cut 3 out at the same time, is I folded it in 3. So I'll put my hand in the middle and I just folded it over. It's a good way to just guess around about 1/3 of the page. If you put your hand on it, it's about 1/3 of the page, all right? For you guys, you might have to spread your fingers out a little bit. But it's about 1/3 of the page every time. Your hand is probably about this width, okay? So that's how you know. You hold the middle of it like that, and you fold one side in on top of it. And that way you know that that's 1/3, all right? And with it folded, we've drawn a big love heart as close to the bottom as we can so we don't waste any paper. We've cut that out, and when we cut 1 out, we actually cut 3 out because of our trick. And we turned the page up the other side, and we drew a smaller one, slightly smaller for the baby's faces, and we did exactly the same thing and cut those out. And what we have left are 3 adult love heart faces and 3 baby love heart faces. Okay, that's what we have. We also have our 3 adult, we're going to call them egg shapes for our bodies. And we have our 3 baby egg-shaped penguin bodies as well. Okay, so we're flying through it. Okay, so what we're going to do now, guys, is we are going to cut out the our beaks and our feet for the grown-ups. Okay, and we still have some paper left here, so I'm going to do them in the middle here. Now, if you don't want to use up all the paper, you can use another piece. It's fine, but we're going to need 6 feet because I suppose every penguin has 2 feet. If they had 1 foot, they'd look a bit strange. But they definitely wouldn't be tap dancing like happy feet. So we're going to do 2 of the medium size feet here. So if you can see, they're a little bit bigger They're a little bit smaller than the baby's faces. So we're getting smaller and smaller every time, okay? So it's a good one here. If you have your little baby face cut out, you know that if you do one a little bit smaller than that above it, that it'll be the right size, okay? So if you can see like that, I know that this is smaller because I've done it above it. And I'm going to do this again up here. So I'm going to do 2 this time because we need 6 feet when we cut them out, okay? Like that. Very good. Okay, so we're going to do those. And you can see mine's a bit wonky, but it's okay. I think they might have wonky feet. It's okay. And we're going to cut those out now as well, all right? And we're going to have lots and lots of colouring to do here in a second. If you want, guys, I'm going to cut this out roughly again. So I'm going to get rid of the other parts that we don't need. If you like, you can colour in the feet any colour you want. I had somebody, one of my students last week, cut them out. And when she did, colour them in, I mean. And when she did it, she did rainbow feet, which was really cool. I had somebody else who had some glitter left over from a pack of our supplies they had for something else. And they used just glitter and glue. So it looked like they'd been walking in the snow because it was silver glitter and the paper was white. So anything at all you want to do with these guys, as I keep saying, your design. So you're in charge of what it looks like. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 feet, okay? And what we're going to do now is I'm going to get more paper because I'm pretty much out of paper here. I've got this leftover paper. I'm going to pop it over here. And on the one I folded earlier, I'm going to do another 3 this size. So I'm going to just draw 1 more of this size one. If you like, you can take the one you've just done and draw around one of them, all right? So then you know that it's exactly the right size as the other ones. Because we need 3 again of this size for their beaks. All right. Here we go. And I'm just going to draw around it here. Now this is much easier to do on a table, not in the air like me. But that's what I've done. Okay. And near the edge, so you have lots of paper left to work with. And I'm just going to cut this out as well. Okay. So I'm cutting in around here like this. And these are going to be for the beaks. So they're noses, I suppose. Because they don't have noses, they have beaks. Okay, so I'm going to do that. So that's my adult pieces done. Now, for my little ones, we're going to need 9 tiny, teeny love hearts. Okay, so I'm going to get my marker again. And over here, next to the one I've just cut out, I'm going to do 2 smaller ones again. So you know that they're smaller than the ones you cut out. I'm going to do 2 next to each other like that. And then 1 above it. Okay. Now, if you wanted, you could do 3 in a line like this. It's up to yourself. But I'd like to keep some paper for another project I'm doing later. So I'm just going to cut it straight across here. Cut it out roughly first. So you get rid of all this extra paper and you can use it for something else. And we're going to cut out these 3 small ones as well. Okay. I'm actually going to show you what we'll use that spare paper for in one moment. Because I've got another little knack so you don't get markers or paint or crayons all over your mum and dad's table or counter or wherever you're doing this, okay? So here's another one here now. I'm going to my second love heart that I'm cutting out like this, okay? And I'm going to be here. So you guys will be experts at love heart drawing and cutting out at the end of this class today, okay? So off we go again. So I'm cutting out my third one now, like this. Okay, I'm cutting around that. And that means I have all the pieces that I need now done for my penguins. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start colouring them in, okay? So I'm going to just take the paper that I had a few seconds ago, my waste paper, open it up and put it on the table in front of me. And I'm going to put whatever I'm colouring on the paper, because then I can just colour it really wildly, I suppose, like right across the paper. And it doesn't matter if I get stuff on this side. So I'm going to show you here what I mean. So if I'm colouring like this on the paper and I go off the sides like that, I'm not getting it on my parents' table or their counter or their couch or their floor or wherever you're colouring, okay? So it's kind of like your art table, all right? So I'm just going to colour away here and do the beaks and the feet for my grown-up ones first. Now, you don't have to colour in the faces, because of course the faces are are white on a penguin. But you can, if you like, as I said, you can colour it in, make them a rainbow penguin, do whatever you like. That's my first one done, and that's one of my grown-up beaks. Okay, so I've got my one grown-up beak done, and I'm going to do another one here while I'm chatting to you, okay? So while you're colouring, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my company. My company is Chatty2 Art Kits and Classes for Kids. So now I've been colouring away here, guys, while I've been chatting to you, okay? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm working on my last 3 of my love hearts for my adult penguins. And we're going to put our adult penguins together first, okay? So we need 9 of these love hearts, 2 for each penguin for their feet, and 1 for their beak. I was going to say 2 beaks there, guys. They look a bit strange, wouldn't they? Although, do you know what? Maybe they're alien penguins. You could maybe do an alien penguin if you want. Okay, so I'm working on my second last one here now for my adult ones, okay? Now, I haven't done any of my mini ones yet because I am keeping those for my baby penguins, okay? So I'm going to work away here now. Okay, I'm working away here. I'm getting it all over my fingers, but you know what? I don't mind because it's art, and art can be messy and fun at the same time. So you can see how handy this page has come in because I'm just using it. And do you know what? This actually kind of looks like a cool drawing on its own. I wonder what we could make this into. I like looking at pieces of paper and leftover things and seeing what they look like, and then maybe making those into other pieces of art, like the piece of white paper that you cut all these love hearts out of, and see maybe what that looks like. I mean, it's kind of cool. It's kind of a cool shape. I wonder what we could make that into. Looks like a trophy if you hold it this way. See? Right, so I've done my last one here. Now I'm going to start. I'm just going to put away my art table for a second because I'll use that again for the mini ones. And I'm just going to start sticking my penguins together, okay? Now you can stick them anywhere you want on the page. You can have it this way if you like, but I'm just going to do it this way so it's easier for you guys. And I'm going to use my red paper as a background because it's kind of more Christmassy, okay? And I'm going to start in the center. I always start in the center because it gives you an idea of how much space is left on each side for the other penguins. And I'm just going to put glue on the back of my my penguin paper. Now, I have a rule about glue. If you've watched my other videos on here, you know my rule. Loads of glue. Do not be mean with the glue because the whole point is to stick it on. And if you're mean with the glue, it won't stick on properly, okay? Especially when you're using a glue stick, you can afford to go a bit mad with the glue. How you know you have enough glue on is you should be able to see it shine. Look. If you can't see it shine all over, then there's not enough glue, okay? So I'm going to stick my guy here in the middle, in the center here like that, towards the top. And actually, I missed a bit of the glue at the end here. Now I have enough glue. And that's where I stuck them because I wanted to put the other 2 adults on either side. I'll do the babies on the bottom like I did with my blue one over here. Okay, and these make really nice decorations for even if you're going to do a window display in your house or stick on a door. Okay, and I'm just going to pop this on for 1 second. I'm just having a bit of technical difficulties there for 1 sec. I'm just going to stick this in here on this end. Sorry about that. Now, so we have now got our penguin in the middle. And we're going to do our other 2. So I'm going to stick on my lovely red ones next. The ones I've done out of my kind of dark red paper. And I think that's going to be really nice on here. And I'm going to put loads of glue on that. Okay. And off we go. I'm going to stick him on here next to my other penguin. So I've got kind of my dark red one going on here next to him. All right. You can see that. Okay. And I'm going to do the other big one, the other adult one on the other side of that. So it looks like there's a big nest of penguins. They're all hanging out. Maybe they're waiting for Santa. So they're all hanging out there together and looking after their chicks, their babies. There we go. Okay. And it's just a winter scene here, guys. Okay. Now, like that. So I've got my 3 adult ones and I'm going to start putting their faces and their feet on, okay? So I'm going to take my big love hearts that I cut out earlier and I'm going to glue those in the center of my penguin egg shapes, okay? The body shapes. So I'm going to put loads of glue on that again. You'd be experts at gluing after this and colouring, guys. That's if you weren't before. I'm pretty sure you probably were. And I'm going to take my second one here now again. And I'm just going to pop that on as well. Okay. I think these are really lovely. And even if you only wanted to do one of these for on a card for someone, or maybe even just the baby ones, it would be really sweet. Okay. Okay. And I'm on to my last penguin face here now. Okay. And I'm just going to pop that in the center of my third one. And the reason why we do the adults first and not the babies is because the babies are going to be stuck on in front of the adults, and sometimes they're stuck on over their feet. Okay, so it's much easier to do the big ones first and then the small ones underneath. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stick on my beak and my feet on all of them. All right, so I'm going to do a beak in the middle, because we'll be doing the love hearts, the eyes over those love hearts in a second. I'm going to do my 3 beaks here. And I'll show you now what I've done with these 2. Okay, so I've stuck them on in the center here, and they already look like birds. Okay, so they've already got their beaks. And we're going to do their eyes over here to the side in one moment with our markers. And I'm going to stick on my 3rd beak now on my 3rd adult. Okay, like that. Now with the feet, we're just going to stick them together so they look like they have their feet like this. Underneath them, and they're the same size as the little beaks. Okay, because we made 9 of these in total, this size. Okay, so now they look like they're sitting down and they've just got their feet together like this. They're webbed feet, so I'm going to stick those on like that. Okay, if you can see properly. Okay, and so I've got my first one done, and I'm going to move on to my second guy here now. All right, or girl. So I'm going to just, and there's another trick for the glue, guys. If you're doing something small, it's easier if you just pop the small thing on top of the glue and just move it around with your finger. It's actually less messy, and you get less glue on the table or on your hands this way. Okay, so just pop it on the glue and run it around the glue like this. Okay, so my finger has no glue on it at all now. Okay, very handy. And my last foot like this. Okay, and I'm just going to pop that on here. So now I've got my 3 adult penguins done. Okay, now I'm going to just draw their eyes. Guys, you can do whatever kind of eyes you want on your penguins. If you just want to do a dot, a black dot, that's okay. You can give them evil eyes if you want, maybe they're evil penguins. But I'm just going to do little circles over here next to my love heart. Little circles like this. I'm just going to do a smaller circle in the middle. Simple as, okay? So that's what I'm going to do though, those kind of eyes. Okay? So I'm going to do that twice more. So a little circle on either side and a smaller circle in the middle, and colour that bit in. Okay? Another circle here, another circle here, and smaller circles in the middle here, all right? So that is my 3 adults done. Okay? Now, I'm going to do a little bit of highlighting. And what I'm going to do, what I mean by that is I'm going to draw around my love hearts that I've just stuck on with my black marker, just to make them really pop out and highlight them, make them look like they highlighted. Because if you take a look at the difference here, one looks better than the other. So the one in the middle here, this one, his beak really sticks out, but one in the middle over here, his beak doesn't stick out. So now you can do that if you like, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. I am just going to quickly do that because I think it looks better, but that's my opinion. And we're just going to draw around that and around the 2 feet as well, just to make them really stick out a bit more, okay? Some wrapping paper is easier to draw on than others, all right? You'll see that now in a second when I'm trying to stick on my glittery one. It doesn't stick very well, and it also is hard to draw on. So you have to kind of really stick it on and really, really lean very hard when you're drawing. But you'll know anyway, because you've been cutting it out, you'll know if it's an easier one to draw on if you think. And also because it's paper and it didn't cost you anything, if you make a mistake, you can always make another one, guys. Okay, so there's no problem there. Okay, this is just something really nice to do on a rainy day. And there's also another video up here that I made for the library for Book Week in October. Harry Potter bookmarks. So if you guys want to look at that as well, work away. That's another really nice, really cool art project. Now I'm going to go around the big white love hearts as well, just to really highlight them. You can see the difference that's after making. And then we'll get going on our smaller guys and we'll be finished in no time. Okay, so I'm going to go around that lovely white section here to really make that jump out. Okay, and it makes a massive difference. So yeah, you'd be surprised how much a little bit of black marker, what the difference a little bit of black marker makes. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to go around this second guy here now, and I'm almost done. This would be much handier if you could see what I was doing. So I'm going to do the third one up here, all right? So I'm just going, drawing around the white section of his face, all right? And it's much easier to see. It sticks out. You can see it's standing out already, okay? And that's called highlighting. You're just highlighting something. And you can see what a difference that's made already, okay? So it looks more like this guy here, okay? All right. And I'm going to now stick on all of my baby ones, okay? So I have 2 penguin babies, penguin ones, and I have 1 green one. So I'm going to stick my one in the center on first, like I did earlier, and that's my green one. The one I said that needs loads of glue because I know the paper is tougher, okay? So I'm going to pop that one in the middle here, underneath my other penguin, so kind of sitting on by his feet, or in front of his feet. And I'm going to do the other ones at the side like I did earlier on with the red ones, okay? So I'm just going to pop that on here in front, next to the other guy, next to his brother or cousin. And I'm going to just go again here with loads of glue. Remember the rule, loads of glue, and pop that on here. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing as I did with my other ones. I'm going to colour them in because I'm going to do them in the orange colour. So I'm going to get my colouring sheet. And my faces are here, and I'm going to do all of my smaller feet here as well, okay? So I've got all my small, tiny, teeny ones that I'm going to just colour in real quick here now again, okay? So as I said, you can colour these in any colour you want. You don't have to do them in orange. I just chose orange because I like orange, and you can do it any design you want. I hope you guys are really looking forward to Christmas and getting all your Santa presents. I'm sure you've all been very good this year with the pandemic and everything. So I'm going to keep going like this. Okay, so I've got 2 of those done now. I have enough for one of my penguin's feet. I'm going to do another one, and then I'll have one for his beak. Okay, so these ones are much faster to colour in because they're so small. Okay, so I have 3 done. That's 1 penguin done. And off I move on to the other one. If you guys are wrapping your paper with brown paper, you can always just use brown paper, which I think is really pretty for arts and crafts actually. You can also make your own wrapping paper out of brown paper. If your parents remember how to do some potato stamps like we used to do when we were kids, it's a really cool way to make your own wrapping paper and decorate your own wrapping paper. We go, whoops. This guy just doesn't want to be coloured. He's jumping away from me. So I'm going to do that here. And off I go. And I'm almost finished onto my second last one, I think this is. Yeah, second last one. So you should have 9 little love hearts here, okay? So I hope you guys are having fun and enjoying this class. I hope you would watch the other videos as well. Okay, so I've made 2 other ones. And I appear to be missing a little one. So I'm going to quickly make another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I haven't. No, they're all there. I just can't count, guys. So what I'm going to do now is going to go back to my piece of paper. I'm going to stick on the bigger love hearts that I made for their faces, like I did earlier. Okay. This green one in the center is hard to stick things to as well as stick on. So I need extra glue on that one. And I'm going to keep going, okay? We'll be done in no time at all. Okay, and on to my third one here. That's my third face here. You can see what I've done there now. Okay, so I've just stuck on those faces, and now I'm going to do the beaks and the feet, do the eyes and a bit of highlighting, and we'll be done in no time. So here we go, is the first one. So I'm doing that little trick that I said earlier, and especially with these smaller ones, and just rubbing on the love heart on top of the glue because it's less messy, okay? and a little bit easier to control as well where the glue goes. So I'm going to stick on his feet like that. So I've got one done here with his feet, and I'm going to do my other two now real quick, okay? But as I said, guys, I know I'm racing and I've raced through this class. I have to get everything done in a certain amount of time. You guys can pause, go back, look at this video again, make this as many times as you want. And please feel free to share this with any of your, with anybody else you know who's got kids, or any of your friends. We should be supporting our local libraries because they produce some amazing work all year, as well as just lending us awesome books and teaching us what to read. They also do brilliant events throughout the year. So please feel free to share this video with people, and people not even in Cork as well, because our local libraries are for everybody. Okay. So I've got all of my little pieces stuck on. I'm going to do the same thing with my little eyes that I did earlier. So I'm going to do a small circle and then a tiny, teeny circle in the middle. Like this. You can kind of see that one there. Really close, I put it really close up. And I'm going to do that twice more on the other two. There's one here, a little circle here, a little circle here, and a little circle here with little dots in the middle. Okay. And just one last thing to do, and that's go around all the love hearts with my marker again, just to make them highlighted, to make them really stand out. And that is your waste paper penguin picture done. And you can hang it wherever you want, pop it in the window to cheer people up as they're walking past, do one on a card, send it to a friend or a family member to cheer them up at Christmas. And I hope that you had as much fun today as I did doing these. I love doing arts and crafts, especially with waste paper and things that we normally throw out. I love doing things with recycling because we're trying to save the planet, but we still need to be artistic and clever about things. So I'm just doing the last one now. I'm onto my last penguin face. I'm pretty sure you guys are probably flying ahead of me here now. And I'm just doing the last pair of feet. And then it is done. Okay, and I'll give you a look at what it looks like when it's finished. Okay, so that is my penguin picture. Now you could do some writing at the top if you want. You could do some snow with some leftover paper. But these I think are really lovely. They're really nice pictures to have hanging around the house. Nice winter scenes for you and your family to enjoy. And I hope you have a good Christmas. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please log on and check out the other ones, and I'll see you again.